Well, I'm Alex Davenport, and I'm here to talk about diving safety. Now, one of the first things you should do is know how to scuba dive. Learn how to ask questions. You do not want to be uninformed when you're going scuba diving. Now, that's not a rule, but a personal rule of thumb. Secondly, stay safe, obviously. Don't do stuff that a stupid person would do underneath the water. Like, accidentally stab themselves, or I don't know, or try and eat a fish. I don't know, something stupid under the water. Don't do anything stupid necessarily. And secondly, don't hold your breath on the way up, because that's just bad, because your lungs expand as you go up, and that can cause problems. Secondly, or third, I guess, I'm just going to say in thirds from now on, you do not want to, don't want to go descend rapidly, or by descend, I mean ascend, excuse me. You do not want to ascend rapidly, because that can cause nitrogen from the air tank, which they use to help with the air management, science stuff, will start forming bubbles in your bloodstream, which is not good. Fourth, obey local dive regulations. And as I said, I believe, don't do anything that could cause you to get hurt purposefully. Such as, again, you remember me saying at the start, ask questions. Do not stab yourself on coral or any other dangerous items. No. You also should be careful and know what to do if something bad happens that is an entire accident, such as your mask deciding to just stop working, or your rebreather to stop working. If your rebreather stops working, excuse me, it's my personal fault. If it stops working, you should, one, try and get help. If you're at a low level of altitude, by low level, I mean less than 15 feet, you're probably okay. That doesn't guarantee safety, but it should at least be safer. And you can ascend slowly, breathing out. Do not breathe out and in rapidly, as that could cause you to drown. Do not hold your breath either. You might not be that far down, but still not good. You should slowly let air out of your mouth as you swim upwards, as your lungs expand, causing oxygen to also circulate. I do not know how the science works, but it does. Also causing oxygen to circulate, therefore leading to somewhat safe, not necessarily safe. You should get help from a dive instructor or another person. And, going along with that, do not go in lakes or any other body of water that you are not familiar with. No, you might not have ever dived there before, but it's good to know the local surroundings underneath the water before you dive in. Or anything, for that matter. Scuba diving, just regular swimming, you should know what is underneath the water, as there are some plants and animals that might be particularly dangerous in your area, such as lionfish. If you're somewhere in Southern America, or basically anywhere else on a coast. And finally, fifth, follow what dive instructor says. Again, I've reinforced this in my past rules. Just do what the dive instructor says. It's easy and it can protect you in the long run, or short run in that matter. Sixth, you should always always maintain safety in your head. Don't do anything that might be outlandish unless you know that there is a good probability, because there's always risk to things. There is no risk with no reward, which is not a good slogan for this, but we understand that scuba diving can be frightening for some, which may cause some to panic underneath the water, because the first time that I have ever used a rebreather, I didn't go that far underwater. I went under maybe 1 foot of water, and I got frightened personally, because I thought, oh my, I cannot breathe. I feel like I am going to drown, even though I would not drown because I am 1 foot under the water. But that's the thing. You should get used to your equipment. And with that, know what that again circles around too. Do what they tell you. Learn about your equipment. Don't get a small tank if you're going to be way under for a long time. Don't stay under for too long. Read your gauge. Make sure you know the diving tables, so you don't stay under the water too long and you get too much nitrogen in your lungs and bloodstream, which, as you know from my previous rules, is bad. You should read dive tables, follow instructor, in summary. And again, I'm going to establish this for maybe the 5th time, because I don't know. I'm trying to reinforce this in anybody else's head. 3 main things. Know what you're doing using proper knowledge with your equipment and the surroundings that you're in. Follow what your instructor says if you have one. If you do not and you're doing free diving, or I don't personally know what it's called. I haven't done diving personally, but I have done research on this and am a helpful guide. And thirdly, don't do something that has a high likelihood of injuring you, someone else, or wildlife, unless you have to harm wildlife. Do not harm wildlife. And that is all.